Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. Today we have a range of very interesting tidbits, and we're gonna start with something which Star Wars is bringing back in 2024. Creature design innovation has become a fundamental aspect of ILM and recent Disney Star Wars projects. And over the last few years we've seen some impressive feats of visual effects and CG, and this year my dear friends, we're in for another one. And we know this ahead of any trailers releasing for Skeleton Crew and the Acolyte, the two upcoming live-action shows of the year thanks to a LEGO leak. And you might be saying, again with the LEGO leaks, Meg? Well, they've been responsible for so many reveals as of late. Jacen Syndulla appearing in the Ahsoka show, the names of New Republic officers, the name of the ship in Skeleton Crew, and the list goes on. Well, now we know that an upcoming 2024 Star Wars set is a creature build, 1,186 pieces, retailing just under $100. Word on the street is that this creature appears in either Skeleton Crew or the Acolyte. There is no picture just yet, but it's been described as a multi-eyed monster. If it is in Skeleton Crew, it continues the trend of giant alien monsters in Mandalorian-related shows, and I wonder if it's a species the kids lost in space have to contend with and escape from. Maybe this creature is part of a cloning project by the Imperial Remnant, akin to something like the Zillo Beast from the days of the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch Season 2. But the most interesting descriptor for me are the multiple eyes. And the first thing that came to mind was the Summa Verminoth from Solo: A Star Wars Story and Vader comics. This creature was immense, and there would be good reason to bring something like this back. For a brief moment in 2018, despite Solo losing money, fans were obsessed with this creature. I remember the behind the scenes being a very popular video, but also, that whole sequence was so cinematic and so beautiful. Maybe the creature in Skeleton Crew or the Acolyte is inspired by it. Maybe a subspecies which was confirmed to exist in the unknown regions. The Red Honeycomb Zone, a passage through the galactic barrier. It hunted down its own kind. The subspecies adapted by performing psychic attacks. Both Darth Vader and Ochi of Bestoon encountered them while travelling to the Sith planet of Exegol, and as I say, in a similar fashion to the way Palpatine once upon a time cloned the Zillo Beast, is it possible cloning factions of the Remnant are trying to create a supermassive powerful monster to be part of their ranks? Is this what the kids, and Jude Law's character the teacher, come across while lost in space? We don't know what reaches of the Outer Rim, or wild space, or the unknown regions they're going to be transported to. Or maybe this thing is more akin to a Raptor from The Force Awakens. Creatures such as this were used by syndicates across the scummy underworld of the galaxy, which Skeleton Crew does meddle in. If I had to guess, out of the two shows that this could feature in, I would say it's probably for Skeleton Crew. I think the Acolyte has enough things going on as it is, with the Sith and the Jedi, but when you have a show that is marketed as a space version of Stranger Things and has an Amblin vibe inspired by Goonies, it seems to me way more likely to appear in the latter. Either way, this is very exciting news, and regardless of the specifics of what creature this is going to be, I'm sure it's going to impress us. The last few creatures in the Mandoverse have been highlights, and there is no denying, as a fandom we've come to love the inclusion of creepy creatures and monster escapes, and with the budget and technology at Lucasfilm's disposal, the sky really is the limit. So moving on to our next subject, did you know Andor is, quote, wrecking marriages? I thought this was a joke the first time I came across it, but it's not. And before looking into what this was all about, when I read the headline, it kind of made sense. Couples who don't really talk about politics, or haven't shared their personal views on various issues, might be surprised when it comes to confronting these, watching a show like Andor. You guys know how much of a massive fan I am of the Tony Gilroy series, but simultaneously I understand how some fans see this as like the anti-Star Wars show, a series that has no lightsabers, no Force, no Mandalorians. It's a unique drama series which focuses more on the earlier stages of the rebellion and fighting this growing Imperial force. No Skywalkers, tons of new characters, and only a handful of connections to the known story of the saga. So I get it. I get that some Star Wars fans just never really could get into the show. So here is the bit that really surprises me. I know Andor is political, no one's denying that, but you've got to wonder the sort of conversations it sparked to the point where couples were arguing. Tony Gilroy was inspired by many real-life revolutions and political economic systems across the world in history, but it is covert in that it is done in the context of the galaxy far, far away, so it's the interpretation of the early fights between the rebels and the Empire that is getting people riled up, and in some cases, literally ending their relationships. I don't think you can literally explicitly blame the show for that. That's just my perspective. According to a now viral thread on X.com, Andor has in some capacity ended real-life marriages, or in less dramatic cases, causing arguments amongst couples. One outspoken Andor fan took to the social media platform to express that while it's an exaggeration to say the Disney Plus spin-off directly caused a divorce, it did lead to intense conversations about politics that made them realise they're incompatible. The topics of freedom, from certain interpretations, for example Nemec's manifesto may be something on the more Marxist side of economic theory, just to give some examples, and in this person's case, watching Andor together on the couch led to them breaking up. Another person said, watching it with my ex started the realization that we shouldn't be dating or watching TV shows together. Andor is powerful. It is rather interesting to see how Andor has sparked such heated political debates at home, but even more so to learn that disagreements over the Rogue One spin-off are entirely ruining people's relationships. Andor is not alone in doing this, but for a Star Wars show, it is by a long country mile the most political. I guess it's just a matter of time until we see if Season 2 is going to do the same for more couples. And so finally, my dear friends, Ahsoka. This topic has been covered more or less ad nauseum. Natasha Bordizzo, live-action Sabine Wren, spoke about one arc from the Ahsoka show, her using the Force and becoming a Jedi, on the Dagobah Dispatch podcast. And she said the importance of Sabine's Jedi arc was a metaphor for life, as written by Dave Filoni. And according to the actress, this is why it was necessary. Sabine, quote, didn't always finish the fight in a cool way. Her journey is messy, and it wasn't until the stakes are high enough that she's finally able to unlock that part of herself, fulfilling what Kanan Jarrus said about her in Star Wars Rebels. Her emotions blocked her off from the Force. They were a hurdle to overcome. And then Natasha speaks about the concept of the Force and George Lucas. She said this, the concept of the Force being this difficult to attain but attainable state of being that more people can access with hard work and dedication, I think, is an honourable one. That feels very Dave, as well as the history of the fact I think George Lucas originally said that too. George Lucas made it clear that all life forms contain midichlorians. While a higher count means a stronger connection to the Force, and thus an easier time accessing it, it doesn't necessarily mean it's impossible for someone with a lower count to use the Force with enough training. And so with that said, my dear friends, let me know your thoughts on everything we spoke about in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you, always.